Hey there, welcome to the $100 billion insurance restoration industry. Hail, tornadoes, hurricanes, fire, and flood. It's a $100 billion industry. Some folks are surprised to hear that. It's also one of the fastest growing industries on the planet for contractors and industry entrepreneurs like you. You may not believe in global warming per se, but you cannot ignore global statistics and the fact that the catastrophe industry is growing and growing rapidly. Therefore, if you're a contractor that deals with properties, this is simply too large of an industry for you to ignore any longer. Don't take my word for it, just turn on the Weather Channel on any given day. Let's start with a definition of a catastrophe. A catastrophe is an event that causes 25 million or more in insured property losses and affects a significant number of property casualty policyholders and insurers. Let's take a look at the industry on a global level and then the US market. There were over 1,000 natural catastrophe events in 2016 that generated total economic losses of $210 billion globally. That makes 2016 the seventh highest year on record, with the combined economic loss exceeding the $200 billion threshold for the first time since 2013. The top three perils, flooding, earthquake, and severe weather, like hail and tornadoes, combined for 70% of all economic losses in 2016 on a global level. While at least 72% of catastrophic losses occurred outside of the United States still accounted for 56% of global insured losses at around 25 billion. It is important to differentiate between overall catastrophic losses and insured losses. Global catastrophic losses were at 210 billion, while the 10-year average is at 154 billion. Global insured losses are at 50 billion, while the 10-year average is at about 45 billion. Therefore, on a global level, insurers paid out around 50 billion for natural disaster claims last year. It was the costliest 12 months for natural catastrophic damage after 3 years of relatively low losses, but above the 10-year average of 45 billion. That means the market's growing for catastrophic losses. Insured losses are a more reliable figure on the size of our industry and the one that we should focus on for size and growth, because we want to get paid. Let's take a look at the law of moving averages over time to see how it's growing. The moving average of insured losses over the last 10 years is roughly 45 billion, while the moving average loss over the last 30 years is 33 billion. This is adjusted for inflation. So what does that tell us? The industry's growing. This shows an increasing growth trend of insured losses. Let's do a quick recap of global losses in 2016. There were over 1,000 significant loss events, which is significantly above the 10-year average of 590. The high number of flood events, including river flooding and flash floods, was exceptional and accounted for about 34% of all global losses, compared with an average of 21% over the past 10 years. A series of April earthquakes in Japan was the costliest event, both economically and in terms of losses. 6 of the top costliest insured loss events actually occurred in the United States last year, including Hurricane Matthew and multiple severe weather outbreaks such as the hailstorms in Texas. On a global level, and for the 4th consecutive year, flooding was actually the costliest overall event at a total of 62 billion. Remember, a catastrophe is an event that causes 25 million or more in insured property losses. Catastrophic events are increasing every year. As a contractor, you cannot afford to ignore this massive market and opportunity.